Welcome back. I'm Richard Hosnote, and I'm your host for the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast and this Wisdom Inspired Life YouTube channel. Great to have you back. This begins an extended series exploring the topics of caring, compassion, and kindness. It's part of my Words of Wisdom series, which becomes very nicely WOW. And in this particular series, I'm going to be sharing with you quotes from people you know and people you don't know on the topics of caring, compassion, and kindness. I discovered as I looked into this quotes, and I realized that people were talking about caring, compassion, and kindness from different perspectives about what it was and what it meant to them. And in ways better than probably I could sit here and talk to you for hours, by sharing with you quotes from people, you can understand the wide range of possibilities that come when you become a more caring, compassionate, and kind person, all of which is integral to living a wisdom-inspired life. So that's what this is all about. So have some fun with this. I did in putting it together, and hopefully you'll get a sense of that fun as we go through this. So let's get into the quotes for this episode. Well, I think as you'll see in this episode, I've been talking about in the previous one, there's great diversity in the sources of wisdom about caring, compassion, kindness, love, and others. Key attributes of the essence of who we really are. And this is a great example, and it's no surprise that it comes from one of our great artists, Prince. Compassion is an action word with no boundaries. Compassion is an action word. It's made up of empathy, but empathy is where I feel your pain. I understand what you're going through. Stop. Compassion then acts on that. Understanding that, I'm going to help relieve your suffering. That is an action. Compassion is about action. And action with no boundaries, other than to be guided by kindness, compassion, and love. Okay. In its essence, compassion, caring, kindness, and love are all very simple. They have no boundaries. You can be compassionate to anyone, at any time, at anywhere, should you so choose. There are no boundaries. That's how big compassion is. Okay. So don't feel limited, should you think that it is. It's because it's not. Okay. Thank you, Prince. Instead of putting others in their place, put yourself in their place. I love this. It's a play on words for sure. But as I just talked about, compassion has really a couple of elements. It's empathy, which is what this talks about. Instead of putting others in their place, namely being harsh with them, being critical of them, not supporting them, being superior than them, all things that are associated with putting others in their place, put yourself in their place and see the world from their perspective, through their eyes, through their ears, through their emotions. And that's a key beginning part of compassion, caring, and kindness, is really understanding, having empathy for what the other person is feeling. In an earlier episode, it seems like way back when, I talked about Stephen Covey and the best explanation of great listening I've ever heard, empathetic listening. And I shared with you some specific skills around that. You may want to go back and revisit that, or if you haven't, visit it. Put yourself in their place. That's the beginning place for being able to be kind, caring, compassionate, and even loving. Okay? Great advice here. Instead of putting others in their place, put yourself in their place. Thank you, the Amish proverb. Compassion is at the heart of every little thing we do. It's the dearest quality we possess, and we all possess it. Yet all too often it can be cast aside with consequences too tragic to speak of. When we're not compassionate, kind, and caring with others, we can be pretty darn ugly. Whereas compassion, caring, and kindness and love are beautiful. To lose our compassion, we lose what it is to be human. Conversely, to be human, to be everything that we can be, we want to be compassionate. Compassion is at the heart of every little and big thing that we do. It's the dearest quality we possess. Again, so many different people, you're seeing, if you're listening to this series, you've got to be impressed that looked at from this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, all these different angles, and people are all seeing compassion the same way. It's at the heart of every little thing we do. It's the dearest quality we possess. The collective wisdom about that is awesome. Thank you, Anonymous. This is what compassion does. It challenges our assumptions, our sense of self-limitation, worthlessness, of not having a place in the world. As we develop compassion, our hearts open to more compassion, to more kindness, to more caring, and more love. It opens the door to all of that. It challenges our assumptions that, if I'm going to be a strong individual, I need to care primarily about myself and make sure that my self-interests are taken care of. Be careful with that assumption. I've been in that place earlier in my life, and I've challenged that assumption and come up and said, that was not the right assumption. It's not the right understanding. It's not the right insight. Not only from listening to the wisdom of great wisdom teachers, but listening to my heart and listening to my intuition. Challenges our assumptions and sense of self-limitation. We are far greater beings when we are compassionate, reaching out to help others. As we develop compassion, our hearts open, as indeed they do. Be compassionate. Experience what happens here. It'll put a smile on your face. It really will. Sharon, thank you. Let our hearts be stretched out in compassion towards others. For everyone is walking his or her own difficult path, and all of us are walking a path that we came on into this life, onto this planet with a purpose. And it can be a difficult path, as all of us know. But if we let our hearts be stretched out towards compassion towards others, we don't need to walk that journey alone. We can walk it with others, connected to others, who are helping us and we're helping others. It expands. You've seen that in other quotes. Compassion makes us greater. Makes us greater as we help make others greater. In a simple way, it's 1 + 1 = 3. Okay? Let our hearts be stretched out in compassion towards others. Because everyone is walking his or her own difficult path. And compassion can just make that difficult path a little bit easier with each other. Okay? Dieter, thank you very much. Well, as always, You can always visit the mywisdominspiredlife.com website. Having said that, as you are maybe discovering, there's a wealth of content on the Wisdom Inspired Life YouTube channel. Go exploring what's here. There's great diversity. The Jose Stevens interview, the wisdom quotes, the stories of compassion, and empathetic listening, on and on and on. There is so much here. There are lists that I put together that you may want to look at that have various subject matters. While these episodes are produced separately, you can kind of see all the episodes that are on somewhat the same topic listed on those lists. And again, you can listen to the podcast there. You can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, all the other places too. There's a few hundred episodes there, especially the early episodes with a lot of quotes and all that. Well, as you know, I'm on a journey. I greatly appreciate you being on that journey with me today, and I look forward to continuing that journey with you.